Good morning, or maybe it's not even morning anymore where you're watching this, but just wanted to make a quick video about something that I was dealing with last week, but honestly, even yesterday. I kind of wish I had filmed it yesterday, but I was a bit busy. But the morning after is totally cool. It was just essentially car trouble, which is something that's always been real sensitive for me, I guess, difficult for me or whatever. I'll get into that right now. But it basically starts where my radiator, if you don't know too much about cars, there's this like liquid, this pink liquid that runs through it, and you get like this little backup energy tank that also hooks up to the radiator, and it just kind of cycles through that. And in the past, I've always had it done or checked at the mechanics, the dealership, or whatever. Like I've never seen it. I've never seen like the little tank go to empty. It's always been at a good level. And so just checking my fluids and stuff last week, I noticed that, oh, like this is like honestly like not only is it low, it's like basically empty. Like this is not good. And I honestly should have then and there like dealt with it, but I was like, you know what, I gotta go do my order. Wrong move. I know I have a hybrid, so I don't use the engine all the time. So that helps a bit. But I went on my first order and I was like looking at the different coolants that they had there. I was like researching online, like what should I use? And I even asked if we had any coolant at home or what should I do? And it was basically like, well, you don't want to drive around really without any coolant in there because you'll mess up your engine. So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go see like if I can go find like something in my gut told me to go find the original like manufacturer's coolant or whatever, especially made for hybrids. And so I picked some up, and the entire time I had this like this subconscious feeling, I guess, of like this is like not fun. Like you know that feeling, right? It's like your beehole clenches, you get beads of sweat on your forehead. You can act like everything's cool, but there's still like that 5-10% of you that's like, I don't know. But I get the coolant throughout the day. I'm filling it up. You know, I probably should have mentioned from the start to my circle that it was like low, like it wasn't just like I need to top this off, like the tank was empty, which usually, like now that I know more after this experience, it's typically means like a leak or something's going on. But in any case, I was just topping it off through the day. And that's when I finally was like, you know what? Like every time I top it off, like the tank keeps emptying. Like I asked my circle, like, what should I do? Especially with my father-in-law, who's more familiar with the car stuff. And he was like, we have a family friend. I already know this guy. He's a mechanic. Just anything car related, just hit him up right away. Like this is what you want to do. And so I give him a call, and thankfully he answers, even though it's the weekend holidays. It was on Easter. And he's like, hey man, what's going on? I just described the situation to him. And he's like, yeah, I could take a look at it tomorrow. Like today's Easter, I can't today, but just bring it by tomorrow and easy peasy, we'll check it out. And so I go, cool. And I'm just topping it off the rest of the day to the point where it's like this is not getting better. Like I need to go for like a walk, get some movement in so I can just be in a better headspace to manage this. It wasn't like the same way I would approach it like in the past where I would just like completely collapse, but I would say it wasn't A plus either. And so at the end of the day, finally, it turns out that like I guess the radiator was just because the car was like being in use, I was just drawing in a bunch of liquid all at once. That's why I kept having to refill it. And so at the end of the day, when it sat totally cool, I was like, well, it looks like that's it. Like it just needed a lot of coolant and now it's good to go. And then sure enough, it was cool for a few days and no problems. I kept checking it. I made sure I was on top of that. And all of a sudden yesterday, like almost a week later, I was driving thankfully nearby to the house and I noticed that the engine started getting louder, and I look at my temperature gauge and it's just like completely going to the hot, which is like, I've never seen that happen in this car ever. I think when it comes to car stuff in general, like I get associations of like I don't like the word trigger, but I guess maybe that's the closest thing I can use of because it just subconsciously, not subconsciously, like it just reminds you of like my old beater car that I would have to always be refilling with like water to just keep the car from overheating. And when it comes to this car, like I think of like every time something's broken, like I had a hybrid battery go out in this car, which was not a cheap fix, and I didn't have my finances and stuff. I didn't have the right mindset for finances together. So that one was like a pretty penny, a couple $1,000 that I didn't work towards replenishing. And that's not the only time that's happened. Like, it's been a couple of expensive services. So whenever something like this happens to the car, it's something that's a real challenge for me. And it's one of those challenges, I don't know if you know, like where it seems like to other people, like really that's something that you struggle with, something that trips you out. And like you kind of feel more like, damn it, like this is getting to me. And I know like this is not a big deal. Like I'm still thinking pretty logically through all of this overall, but it's still like the emotional part of it or whatever is I'm letting it trip me out. I'm getting kind of off topic, sorry. Anyways, when that happened again, this time to the point where like the car was overheating, I had to pull over. I was like, you know what? Thank you, universe. Thank you, God, for bringing up this exact scenario again so soon too. Like this was only like a couple days. Like I thought it might have been months before I got another chance to tackle a challenge or this exact challenge again. But I got blessed in being able to challenge it again so soon. Thank you. Like I'm real grateful that like I got this opportunity right away. Let me go ahead and call our family friend who's a mechanic. Gave him a call, and I was like, describe the situation. I was like, hey, the reservoir tank is empty again. Like it's been a couple days, but it looks like even like it exploded a little bit, the liquid. Like I see, like I took photos of like residue of like pink liquid that spilled all over the inside. Like, what should I do? And he's like, you know what? You could just bring it in, drop it off, and I'll take a look at it after work. And I was like, sweet. So even more, I was like grateful. I was like thank goodness it happened so close to the house, like where I could just put it into battery mode and drive it. Thank goodness that he's able to look at it today. You know, I got back to the house and I told my wife, like, I'm real great. I feel grateful. I feel amazing in terms of like I was just thinking of more things to like to turn it into my favor. Like now we get to spend a good afternoon together. This is like a bit of a rarity at the moment because of my schedule. So that was a blessing. I get to handle a bunch of stuff that was on my to-do list. Again, it was real great that it was like so close to the house. So I didn't have to like, call a tow truck. There's just so many like blessings and wins about it. When it came time to actually like drive down to the mechanic though, because I had to wait for a ride and everything, I did encounter some difficulty there of like, you know what? I need to bust some push-ups right now because my mind is trying to like push me towards like, oh my gosh, like it's going to be expensive. I don't know what's wrong with it. Like this isn't that. And when that happened, I was like, you know what? No, like I understand this is tripping me out. I get the emotional part of it. I'm still thinking logically though. I'm the one in charge. I'm going to go raise my vibration, go do some push-ups and just, no procrastinating like before, no giving in to those emotions, no turning to instant gratification because you feel a certain way, like let's go. I even I set myself up even for a bit of a challenge over the next month because in that moment while doing the push-ups, I was like, you know what, God, if you just like, I'm offering this to you, like if you do me a solid here, like this is really tripping me out. This is a big challenge for me. Like if this is something that's going to be like a really cheap fix, I will half the pizza that I eat on Pizza Saturdays for the next month, which I fucking love Pizza Saturday. So this was like a pretty big offering I was giving, not to like, let me cut you a deal. And if it doesn't work out, screw you. I'm going to eat even more pizza, but just an offering straight out. And we drop off the car. That part goes smoothly. I made sure to just extra focus, be in charge, be in the moment. Life happens for me, not to me. And after we leave, it hasn't even been maybe 15, 20 minutes tops when he gives me a call back and he's like, hey man, your radiator cap is just cracked. So that's why like the system wasn't being pressurized and it was just, exploding out of the tank. I've had a spare cap laying around here for the radiator. You're good to go. You can drive it. I would recommend just going to a dealer to go get the actual like official cap. But Other than that, you're cool. And I was like, what? Really? Do I owe you anything, for the cab? Because like that was really nice of you. And he was like, no, you're good, man. And yeah, just like that, it just like was a very humbling, like, just very like, I, for lack of a better word, it was just like to me, anyways, it's just a small miracle, and it was like, I couldn't believe it, like how much it worked out in my favor. And I'm not saying, every scenario like this is going to, you know, turn out this way, like so smoothly, but just having that thing that was really like it's always been something that I struggle with, and having to go so smoothly, and seeing that growth of how I would handle car situations when I was younger years ago, to even like last week, to especially how it went with this round, because it was like, what I got from it was that feeling of like, what, everyone has like something that trips them up, and it's always attached to like past experiences. Like for me with the car, for example, again, is like cars in the past overheating, not taking care of cars, expensive bills from the dealership and the mechanic, and you don't have the finances to back it up. And I was like, you know what? No, this time I do. Like I'm way more financially responsible. I don't procrastinate on really serious things, especially. And I see the fear, the anxiety, like that butthole clenched fucking feeling. And I'm like, I see you, I hear you, but you're not in the driver's seat, You like are almost like a friend in a sense. Like, hey, like you're just here warning me that this is important. I should be paying attention to what's going on here. I should be aware, but I'm the one that's in charge. Like I'm in charge of my thoughts. My thoughts aren't in charge of me. And so really that was like more or less I what I got from the situation 100%, because it's true. When you end up in these scenarios, like it's going to be something, it's different for everyone, that like some people it's going to be easy dealing with these things that you have difficulty with, and you're also going to have things that you're good at that other people also get tripped out over. But when it happens to you, you have to remember that it's happening for you and not to you. And you have to treat, at least this was work for me, you have to treat that feeling of like that negative feeling, that like this is difficult, this is like I don't want to deal with this. And the way you lean into it, because that's what you should do, is lean into it, is by treating it as just, it's just a warning sign, it's just a heads up, it's just something that is important. When you feel that way, when you feel that fear in your throat and your voice clenching, you just have to do your best to say, you know what, I hear you. I know why you're there. I know that you're there. Like I'm not in denial. We're human beings, right? Like you've encountered things where you end up afraid, or like it catches you off guard or it trips you up, but you can't let that take control. You have to be able to say like okay, I'm in charge, and I'm going to flip this. I'm going to turn this around in my favor by just saying, you're just giving me a heads up that this is something important. That's all fear and anxiety and worry is it's just saying, heads up, you're going to want to lean into this because there's going to be something you're going to get out of this, like some important lesson or some important result. Don't give in though. Don't let it take control. Don't, let that feeling like overtake you and take the driver's seat. Like you got to say like, no, I'm here I am, I'm the one that's in charge. That doesn't mean I'm in denial. I'm not gonna lie. And as a matter of fact, I was even honest with my circle. Like, yeah, this stuff does trip me up, but I work at it. I work at it to raise my vibe to be able to deal with it effectively. And being able to treat those emotions, of like okay, this is like tripping me out, even if it's like 10%, because my thing is I want to deal with these types of situations at like 110% is the deal. Like I don't want to deal with these things at like 90% even. I want to be the 110 version of myself. But when this comes back in the future, because it always will, and it'll probably be like bigger, maybe next time it'll be, instead of like, for the example of my car, like a $5,000 car bill, it'll be like, a six-figure bill for an airplane, the jet plane, private plane. I'm exaggerating for the example, but in the future, when I end up in this scenario with that same flavor, stacking these types of wins, it really does teach your mind, and it helps build its strength in the sense of like you'll feel that feeling still, but you've done enough of these, you've put in enough work that it becomes just a thing that you manage, a thing that you're able to like it becomes like how do you say, just another work day, it's just another situation, no big deal. And it becomes smaller and smaller because like those past regrets, failures, times you messed up dealing with this type of situation, they just become smaller and smaller, and your wins become bigger and bigger, and that's becomes like the thing that your mind starts to associate with yourself. It's like I am someone that does deal with this in a totally cool, confident, like gratitude. Gratitude is such a powerful thing when you're dealing with these things. It's all about your intention, and how you're dealing with these things. Don't be in denial of your feelings. Don't run away. Don't give in. But I'm just like someone who's overcome enough of this, and it starts to stack that let's go. So that's overall what my experience was. And so far, smooth sailing. The car's doing great. I got to go pick up, a new radiator cap still. But overall, again, it was just a very humbling experience, like just giving in, surrendering, and not trying to procrastinate it or trying to like avoid it, trying to find some type of solution by myself. And it was just like, I'm so grateful that it worked out in my favor. And again, I understand that what I offered was just an offering to God. And even if it hadn't gone my way, that's just, it would have gone perfectly regardless. And I know, and then in the future, whether it goes my way or not, it's always going to be something to learn. There's always going to be something to be grateful for. So that was it. I'm off back to work here. Gonna enjoy the delicious coffee my lovely wife made me. Grateful for her as well. And yeah, that's just overall, like, I think a really, honestly, great experience, cool experience that happened to me that hopefully is something that, like, I don't know, like that you can see in your own scenarios and your own crosses to carry, in your own burdens. Don't deny it and don't feel ashamed of it. Learn to conquer it in the sense of like you're in control. Flip it in your favor. But I'll catch you guys in the next video. If you watched up to this point, I really appreciate you. Thank you. I'll give my YouTuber like classic, like make sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more of these. Last time I was doing a walk by the Bob's Discount Furniture. This time we got that same flavor. It worked out better to do it in the car before my order right here by Lowe's. But yeah, I'll catch you guys very soon. Take care.